Okay, right. We should be live. Oh, somebody's ringing me. Let's turn that off. Brilliant timing. Great. So thank you for joining me for this very short interview. We've only got 20 minutes. But so I just want to say thank you because it's really private sharing your personal and family information. But I'm hoping it can make a difference, even if it's just to one or two parents. For me, that's worth it. And I know you think very similar to me in terms of helping other people. And you've always been an amazing support for me and a real advocate for special needs and looking out for our kids and being their voice. So with no further ado, tell me, introduce yourself and who is in the Willot family for me, please.
Yeah, there's 4 of us in our family. I'm Reagan. There's my husband, Steve, and we have 2 daughters, Jasmine and Kira. Jasmine's 14 now and Kira's 10.
Okay, brilliant. And which daughter is it that you have the diagnosis for?
It's Jasmine. We knew from about 18 months. There was just something not quite right with her.
Okay.
Couldn't put your finger on it, but the way she was interacting with other children, the way she looked at you. My grandma used to say she had sad eyes.
Right.
And just couldn't seem to get into her world. She seemed lost.
Okay.
When she'd
been for 18 months. She'd been fine up until that point, hadn't she? Did you say she'd sort of progressed a bit?
Yeah, she was basically the perfect child. She was sleeping through for 12 hours from the moment she was born. So, she was brilliant.
Yeah.
She was singing songs by 18 months. She was, every little milestone she hit. And then all of a sudden it was as if she hit a brick wall and starting to forget how to talk to us, how to interact with other children.
Yeah.
And it was just, difficult. And with Jasmine being our first, we didn't really know what we were doing. Okay. And it was a hard go. I remember taking her for an 18-month development check, and Jasmine had this other little girl pinned to the floor, ripping handfuls of hair out of her. I was on my own, and the health visitor just said, "There's nothing wrong with Jasmine. It's basically you're a crap parent." And she recommended parenting books and parenting courses for me. Which.
Okay. And how did that make you feel at that point?
It made me feel complete failure. It was awful. It really was. And we were constantly fighting we knew there was something wrong with Jasmine, but they just kept saying it was, we weren't doing something with her. It was my fault. And it was when she went to a preschool and she was 2.5, started finally getting other people was actually listening to what we were saying. Okay. And they could see how poorly she interacted with other children.
Okay.
And it was just hell on earth, to be honest. I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown, and I remember putting Jasmine in my car and she wouldn't put her shoes on. Something as stupid as that. And I completely lost it. I just couldn't cope any longer. And in the end, I remember driving up to my mum's house, opened the door, put Jasmine in my mum's house and drove to my sister. And I just burst out into tears because I just couldn't cope. Jasmine was 2.5 at this time, and I didn't know where to look, where to go for help.
And you knew this was something more than just the terrible twos. This was something bigger than just that.
Yeah, it was like her eyes were just, she's got really beautiful and expressive blue eyes, and her eyes were just hollow. There was just no interaction. You'd smile at her and you just got nothing back. You asked her to play with other children and she just couldn't do it.
So how did you move from having people say you were a bad parent to actually having a diagnosis and having an answer? How did that process come about?
she went to, she was in mainstream and she went on to nursery. And when I wasn't there, Jasmine was with the teachers and the other children, they started seeing for themselves what we've been saying for 2 years by this point. That Jasmine doesn't know how to interact, doesn't know how to play with children. Because at this point she had become completely non-verbal. All the words she was saying, she'd stopped. We didn't have a clue of how to communicate with her because she couldn't tell us what she was feeling. We couldn't tell her. So in the end, I actually took it upon myself to teach Jasmine Makaton when she was in mainstream, because I just couldn't see another way of trying to get into Jasmine's world.
So did you go for courses? How did you learn in order to teach her?
We got the books off the internet and watching Mr. Tumble, something special. And it was things like Jasmine couldn't tell us she needed the toilet.
Right.
So having to teach her what the sign for toilet was. Having to teach her how to tell us if she was hungry or thirsty or happy or sad. We had to go back to basics and treat her as a baby and actually teach her how to talk to us so we could understand what she wanted.
And did that help her in terms of communication?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, we took the decision to move her from mainstream into special school when she was 6.
Okay.
At that point, the school was still saying that it's a global development delay, she'll catch up. And we were saying no. When she should have been in year 1, she was still in nursery.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't do any of these activities that a year 1 child was supposed to have been able to do. Okay. Jasmine still couldn't sit by a child and play a game, read a book. She'd rip the pages out of books.
So that sounds very sort of autistic, but that's not her main diagnosis, is it?
No.
And I know it's a catalogue, it's a long diagnosis. Oh, really? Could you share with me what the diagnosis is that Jasmine's actually got?
Jasmine has a severe attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. She has severe learning disability. It's up until 5, it was classed as global development delay. And as soon as they get to 5, it becomes a learning disability. Okay. So when you hear some people say the child's got a GDD, it's the same as learning. It's just they realise that they're never going to catch up.
Yeah, okay.
She also has significant communication difficulties. Even now, people close to Jasmine can understand what she's saying, or no one else would. She has limited speech. I know what she's saying because she's my daughter, and when they were babies, you knew what the different cries was just because you're with them all the time. Yeah. She also has aspects of Autistic Spectrum Disorder, and she also has associated behavioural issues.
Right, okay. And how did that affect you? How did you cope with the diagnosis? And I know you've been very honest, and I love that about, handing it to your mum and driving off. I think most parents that are in the positions that we are have either thought about that or done it more than once, because it is bloody tough. It's hard. Yeah. So, brilliant that you can be that honest. But how, as a mum and as a person, how did that affect you having your baby who was perfect for the first 18 months? Sorry to use the word perfect. I know it's a bit out there. She was hitting her milestones, everything was going great. Then she regresses and loses the language she's got, which must be heartbreaking. How did that affect you and your mental health?
I am still on antidepressants, and I've come close to 2 nervous breakdowns, and it's just been because my family have intervened at the time, which has stopped me from completely losing it. Yeah. I used to be a youth worker. I used to run my own youth centres. I had I love my job. And I was spending more and more time trying to get Jasmine to and from meetings, trying to get her in and out of cars.
Yeah.
I would go to CAMS meetings or meetings with psychiatrists, and I would have to drag her into them because she hated them. And she was completely destroying the room.
Yeah.
And then I would have to go to work.
Yeah.
I just couldn't cope.
No.
And so I had 6 months off with depression. And then I went back to work. I had counselling and all that stuff. Just to get me to realise that it wasn't my fault. That it wasn't something I did or didn't take or didn't miss.
Yeah.
And even now, I'm still on. Jasmine's 14 now, and I'm still on the antidepressants. And it's like this week, it's been Monday, Jasmine was up at 5 o'clock, and she didn't go to sleep till, I think it was 11:30 at night. Right. And she was on the go all day.
Yeah. So you're exhausted, mentally, physically, in everything. Exhausted.
Yeah. And it is so hard with it. You sort of have to look at her, not as your baby girl, but sometimes you just have to go into carer mode.
Yeah.
No, because
that must be really hard to detach from being.
When Jasmine can be physically violent, and she's a 14-year-old girl going through puberty.
Yeah.
She's still got the developmental age of a 4 and 5-year-old.
Yeah. And does she have any understanding about what's happening and things like that? Was it just totally bewildering?
Yeah. And there were times when Jasmine threw something at me and I put my hand up to stop it, and I actually got my hand broke. And it wasn't Jasmine. She was telling me she was unhappy.
Yeah.
And because she hasn't got the communication or the intellectual capability to say, Mum, this is what's going on, the only way she can tell me is by lobbing something. And it's amazing. You wouldn't think that like controls and stuff are quite aerodynamic, but she can get them going right at the right target.
Oh, no. Oh God, you have to laugh though, don't you? I will say, as traumatic as this can be, you do, and you're really good at that. You're kind of finding the humour in all the trauma and the early mornings and late nights.
Yeah, Jasmine has got such a wicked sense of humour. Her favourite emoji that she loves is the poo emoji. And she loves sending them to her dad and to her sister from a mobile because she just thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
And she loves slapstick humour, so anyone walking into a door, hilarious.
Yeah. The whole you've been framed, calamity TV. Things like that. Yeah.
And that's it. She can be such
a real character.
Oh, she is. She can be such a loving, I say little girl, she's not, she's a teenager. But sometimes she is, I do have to walk away because otherwise it comes close to wanting to kill her. And that's just on a normal parenting day.
I was just going to say, and I think lots of parents of teenagers are nodding and sort of saying yes, but you've got the additional stress and pressure of, like you said, a 14-year-old that's having the tantrums of a 4-year-old with the strength of a young adult.
Yeah.
And all of these things combined, are hard, aren't they?
Well, the problem I also have is I had an accident and I'm physically disabled myself. And so I had problems with my mobility in my back and my legs. And she's stronger than I am. She's quicker than I am. She can, our house is just one big lock. We've got locks on the bathroom, kitchen, utility room. But she's like a Jack Flash, she's into everything. And she's got the inquisitiveness of a toddler. with the climbing skills of Bear Grylls, you know.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a lethal combination, that one.
And she's really good at, my husband's a computer programmer, you know, he knows all about computers and whatever. And he puts on all the parental locks on the computer, on the telly. And it takes Jasmine about 5 minutes to unprogram them all.
Wow.
And we found her, she's gone onto my phone, unlocked it. I was asleep, and it was a thumbprint recognition on my phone, and she used my thumb to unlock it.
Wow.
We've always said...
That's some really good crafty skills there. If
she could use her powers for good instead of evil, and just get into mayhem, might solve world hunger.
So what would you say to other parents? Because I've seen a couple of comments already of people saying I'm in the similar position. Liz Hill said, she totally relates to your situation. What would your advice be to parents who find themselves in your position with, a child that's regressed, and then you have all the issues and the problems that you do? What would your advice be?
I think for us it became apparent when we had a younger daughter, Kira, and seeing Kira's development, and she actually overtook her sister, and it was quite difficult. There's 3.5 years between Jasmine and Kira. And seeing your baby being the big sister to their older sister was quite difficult for us. But also, I think I've reported social workers when I've thought they were inept. I don't take what professionals say as gospel anymore. The person who knows Jasmine the best is me. And I'm her advocate. As much as I could quite cheerfully throttle her from day to day, I'm her voice, and because she can't tell the world what's going on, it's mine and her dad's job too. Be there for her, and it's trust yourself. You're not, because I read every parenting book. I honestly thought I was just a really naff parent, because it's what professionals were saying to me. At that time, I didn't know any better. Now I'm quite vocal, believe it or not. I'm able to put what we want. It's not, like when professionals say, "Oh, this is what we want," and if we don't agree with it, we'll say, "No, we're not having that." We've gone through one or two social workers because we haven't found one that we've liked up until the moment. We like her, but again, instead of just taking what they do as thinking because they're professionals, they know what they're talking about. Well, when it comes to my child, they don't.
Well, like you said, your mother.
Pardon, sorry?
I think the broadcast will cut out in about 1.5 minutes, but I know when we chatted, you mentioned really quickly about drugs not being a bad thing. Just in 60 seconds, and thank you so much.
Jasmine's on Ritalin for ADHD and melatonin, and they are there to help Jasmine. They're not there to make life easy for the parent. Because again, that's what I was thinking. Am I just doing it for me? Am I being selfish? But there's a chemical imbalance in Jasmine's brain, and there's chemicals in the drugs that we're giving her that are there to help her and make it easier for her
to. A lot of parents, doesn't it? It does frighten parents to think that they're drugging their children. I know Harry has melatonin as well. It can be a big one for a lot of parents, can't it? That fear.
But I also think it's important to get yourself help as well. And antidepressants aren't a bad thing. And they have helped. There are days where if I hadn't have been on them, I could quite cheerfully drove off a cliff sort of. I was that low, and I'm not helping Jasmine if I'm not right in myself.
So listen to yourself, trust yourself, don't stress about having the drugs that you and your kids need, and just, be there. Thank you so much.
Right.
I really do appreciate your time. And I hope we might cut out at some point. I don't know what's going to happen when it stops, but I just want to say a massive thank you. Oh, that's my alarm. A massive thank you. And thank you very much. Is there anything else that you wanted to add if we've got time? I don't know if it'll cut out, but just if we've got another minute.
What I tend to do now is I've had really bad experiences of taking Jasmine to play centres.
Okay.
And I was not ashamed of Jasmine or embarrassed, but seeing the tutty mums and maybe you need, and I would take it as a personal, want to protect us, whereas now I actually go and speak to the parents and explain that, I'm sorry, Jasmine might have hurt your child, but it's not because she's naughty, this is the reason why. Yeah. And people are a lot more accepting once they are aware.
Yeah.
But if you don't speak up and advocate for your child, you'll just keep your child at home and, because you're frightened of going out.
That's a brilliant point. Yeah, and being proactive like you were in approaching people and just, being happy to share your story, I think is really important as well.
I think it was actually Kira when she was 2. She went up to a lady who was being nasty to her sister and said that, my sister's autistic, what's your problem?
Oh.
And she was 2-year-old.
Out of the mouths of babes.
And I just stood there and thought, what is your...
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, bless her. Well, listen, our love to the girls and to you and Steve. Thank you so much. I'll let you get back to your day and a little bit of peace and quiet while you've got it.
Okay.
So thanks ever so much. Really appreciate your time.
Okay then. Bye.
Bye.